Tessa and Aria disappear as police investigate Jordan's death. Amy apologizes for missing dinner at Nate's penthouse. She was exhausted after the travel from Los Angeles and took a nap in her room. Nate and Audra tell Amy they are glad to have her around while they drink tea. She thinks that's sufficient, but she wonders whether Damien has any updates. There is, Nate acknowledges. Her son is not as depressed as they initially believed, according to an update from the PI. He clarifies that the parent corporation owns both of the businesses her son works for. Denise found out that the main firm is owned by Damien. Amy doesn't think that's feasible. She doesn't understand it. Nate concurs that there is a problem with the tracking. It was said that his half-brother was a lost soul. Amy points out that just a few years ago, he approached her for financial assistance. But if Denise's findings are accurate, Damien is a very prosperous businessman. How was it possible for my son to do this without my knowledge? Amy ponders. Nate, Audra, and Amy discuss Damien YNR. Amy says that her kid might be very driven, so maybe this is feasible, but she thought Damien had lost all of his motivation and attention. There seems to be more to it. Why would Damien conceal his wealth? Audra asks. He has more than what Nate gave him. Nate asks, what's his motivation? Amy surmises that her son is coming to test Nate because he suspects something. Hastings believes it's time to tell his half-brother the truth. He's coming to Genoa City after making the first connection. That was their desire. Amy's final request was that. Amy has hoped and dreamed of seeing her son once more. Audra informs her that the moment has arrived. Amy is aware that she must tell her son everything, but she fears losing him once more. She is reassured by Nate and Audra that they will do everything in their power to help her. Damien will arrive tomorrow, according to Nate. Amy is urged by Audra to remain optimistic. YNR. All of this is far too soon for Amy. Audra reiterates that everything will be okay and she will succeed. Amy is still worried that she may push him away once more. She might not see him again after this. It might also be the start of something new, Audra says. In agreement, Nate exhorts Amy to focus on her recovery and apply the power of positive thinking in order to spend more time with her son. When he volunteered to assist her with her medical care in any way he could, he meant it. He would be honored to find her further possibilities. Amy is moved and expresses her gratitude for their gift and company. She wipes away her tears and wishes Damien could be a part of their merry trio. She acknowledges to Nick that her thoughts is still racing while she is at Sharon's house. She has been rehydrating since she arrived home, but there must still be some PCP in her system. Her mind began reviewing all of the events of the previous few months while she was in captivity, beginning with Cassie's hallucinations. Sharon was furious and angry with Daniel. She did terrible things as a result. That wasn't her, according to Nick. Despite her awareness, she continued to say terrible things against Daniel and his family. She regrets everything that she done. How is she going to overcome them? She can't handle thinking about this all at once. Nick and Sharon are relieved. YNR. Nick informs her that there is no need to hurry as they sit on the couch. Sharon can't completely absolve herself, even though she is aware that she was exploited and that the pills altered her entire perspective. She attempted to frame an innocent man in order to hide her crime. The police inquiry was also hampered by her conduct. Sharon finds it difficult to comprehend Nick and the children's forgiveness of her. He reminds her that they have faith in one another and forgive one another when necessary. He never thought Sharon was guilty from the start. Nick is confident that she will recover eventually, with family support or expert assistance. Sharon wishes she could make a jump to improvement. Nick puts his hand on her knee and tells her that she will arrive. Sharon remains committed to reconciling with Daniel and Lucy. Nick gives her a hug and tells her she is strong and will find a way. She assures him that she will soon relax enough to go to sleep as she leads him to the door. He acknowledges that when they had to think about losing her, his thoughts veered off course. If that had occurred, Nick is unsure of what he would have done. He gives her another hug and walks away. While at the Newman property, Nikki begs Victor to relax for tonight. They don't need to experience it all right away because they are all worn out and anxious. They went rogue and lied to him, and he still demands answers. According to Victoria, her mother was not at fault for this. Claire acknowledges that she intended to kill Jordan. Victor is concerned that the police are questioning his squad. He informed them that Jordan had killed himself, but there are several inconsistencies in this account, and they will likely face more inquiries. Victor insists on knowing when they discovered Jordan was missing. According to Claire, she saw her today. Her granddad believes it was foolish to visit her. Even when her mother and Nikki pleaded with her not to, Claire maintains that she wanted to deal with her aunt alone. Jordan manipulated her in her scheme to murder the family and attempted to destroy her. According to Claire, Jordan had to die. She shouldn't have attempted to do this on her own, according to Victor. Claire continues to shoulder all the blame, claiming that she had to be the one to permanently put an end to her aunt's attacks on their family. Victoria adds that Claire is not being honest with him. They were aware of Claire's scheme. Nikki acknowledges that they consented to assist her. Claire is merely attempting to protect her mother and grandma, as Victor can see. He sighs and begins to poke holes in her story, asking how she intended to hide what she did. Did she even know how she was going to get rid of the body? Although he can see her desire to get rid of her aunt, she could have died as a result of this danger. He gives the instruction, never do this on your own again. Nikki and Victoria claim that they intended to apprehend Jordan before calling him in. Claire confesses that she considered killing her aunt but changed her mind to save Sharon. She was fortunate, according to her grandfather, because Jordan took the poison herself. Nick arrives at the ranch to join his family. Sharon is home, but shook up, he explains. He inquires as to whether Jordan is in detention, and Nikki responds that she is safe. Jordan has passed away, she declares. They repeat her self-poisoning. Victor receives a notification from his team that the body has been placed in the mortuary. There will undoubtedly be a lot of questions. If she left any hints regarding Ian, Nick asks. He will be located, his father promises, and he will be dealt with. Claire is unsure about going back to the tack house. They should remain in the guest rooms, Nikki advises. When Chance gets there, he is relieved to see that everyone is awake. He tells them that prints are being brushed off the abandoned pickup truck. After learning of Jordan's death, the officer inquired as to what transpired. According to Victor, it appears that Jordan broke into the tack house with the intention of killing Victoria and Claire. Victoria goes on to say that they found her and were about to notify the police, but she refused to return to prison. Victor reveals that she had a vial of poison and drank it, dying in front of them, after Claire adds that she committed suicide. The body and vial were taken by the police. Chance wants to see where this occurred. Nick takes him out with Victor. Victoria hopes it will put a stop to this. It simply must be, Nikki asserts. They both confess to Claire that they hoped she wouldn't be able to kill Jordan. They didn't want her to live with the shame of it. Claire wasn't sure whether she was okay with Jordan ending things, but she was prepared to do anything. Her grandmother keeps saying that she is no longer in her life. Back at the penthouse, Nate assures Amy that they will play it by ear after he notifies her when he hears from Damien. Damien will notice his mother's honesty, Audra is certain. They guarantee that they will be by her side the entire time. She gives them a hug and leaves. Nate informs Audra that she had a great sense of comfort from what she spoke to Amy. Audra wishes she had Amy's kind of family. Given his amazing motivational speeches, she is certain that Nate must have been an excellent physician. Nate has no idea what will happen when Damien shows up, but they hope this ends well. He is aware that his entire world will be upended, so he is in for a shock. Nate and Audra discuss Damien's arrival to YNR. Sharon remembers being stuck in the sewer and repeating the names of her children when she is sitting in a chair at home. She is reassured by Cameron that she is on the other side of this. She believes it's time for her to sleep. She can't sleep, he notes. The good news is that she didn't murder Heather, he says, reminding her that she killed him in the sewer. Sharon still regrets framing Daniel at the most inconvenient moment. Everyone makes mistakes, he asserts. He exhorts her to move on from Daniel and find forgiveness for herself. It never occurred to Sharon that he would teach forgiveness. He responds, "I hear it sets you free." He sounds like Nick to her. She hasn't arrived yet and doesn't know when she will. She was under the effect of some pretty strong medications, he reminded her. Cameron and Sharon bid farewell. YNR. Just as Sharon connects Daniel with Cassie, she is certain that he would always relate her with Heather's passing. According to Cameron, they are capable of forgiving one another. While Daniel is grieving, she doesn't want him to worry about her sentiments. Cameron finds that impressive. She sounds reasonable and sane. This implies that she may no longer need him and that this may be their final tango. "I really hope not," she responds, without intending to offend. Cameron tells her that she is unique and that the experience has been enjoyable after kissing her cheek. He disappears when she says farewell. Victor, Nick, and Chance discuss Sharon's escape from the sewer after receiving another PCP dose at the TAC house. Before she speaks to the police, Nick advises her to get some rest and get the drugs out of her system. Victor claims to have seen Jordan die when Chance inquires about it. Before she passed away, she only mentioned that she was collaborating with Ian. According to her, he killed Heather as part of a twisted scheme to win Mariah's affection. Victor has faith that Ward would stay in the area until he has finished his plan to hurt his family. They discuss ways to get Ian to come out of hiding, and the police officer is concerned that if Ian finds out that his accomplice is no longer there, he would become agitated and act out. Nick is certain that Mariah will always be his main aim. This could put her, Tessa, and Aria in danger. Jordan's death falls under police scrutiny, and Tessa and Aria go missing. The streets of Genoa City buzzed with an uneasy energy. At every corner, whispers spread like wildfire. The shocking news of Jordan's death, clouded by uncertainty and suspicion, had sent ripples through the close-knit community. Even as the Newman family grappled with the fallout, another crisis loomed: Tessa and baby Aria's mysterious disappearance. Amy's dilemma at Nate's penthouse. In Nate's elegant penthouse, the tension was palpable. Amy sat across from Nate and Audra, clutching her teacup tightly. The revelation about her son Damien's hidden success had shaken her to her core. Nate, always the calm presence, attempted to soothe her nerves. "Amy, this is good news," Nate said, his voice steady. "Damien isn't lost. He's thriving. Now you have a chance to rebuild your bond." Amy's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "But why would he keep this from me? All these years, I thought he was struggling. I was ready to give him everything I had left to help him." Audra chimed in, her tone thoughtful. "Maybe he's been testing the waters, trying to figure out if he can trust you. Whatever his reasons, you'll have the opportunity to ask him tomorrow." The idea of facing her son after years of estrangement filled Amy with both hope and dread. What if he doesn't forgive me? She whispered. Audra placed a reassuring hand on Amy's shoulder. If he's coming to see you, it means he wants answers too. Be honest with him and let the rest unfold naturally. Nate nodded in agreement. You're stronger than you think, Amy. And remember, we're here for you every step of the way. Amy managed a small smile. Thank you both. I don't know what I'd do without your support. Sharon's turmoil. Across town, Sharon sat in her dimly lit living room, the weight of recent events pressing heavily on her. Nick's comforting presence earlier had done little to quiet the storm in her mind. As she stared into the distance, memories of her captivity and the hallucinatory visions of Cassie swirled together in a chaotic blur. How did I let things get so out of control? She muttered to herself. The guilt of her actions, framing Daniel, disrupting the police investigation, and nearly losing herself to drugs, was unbearable. Suddenly, a ghostly figure materialized in the corner of the room. It was Cameron, his smug grin sending a shiver down her spine. You again, Sharon said, her voice trembling. Haven't you done enough? Cameron's expression softened. I'm not here to haunt you, Sharon. I'm here to remind you that you're stronger than you think. You survived. Now it's time to move forward. Sharon shook her head. How can I forgive myself for everything I've done? For the lives I've hurt? Cameron stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. Start by forgiving yourself. The drugs weren't your fault. You were manipulated, Sharon. Now it's about making amends and finding peace. Though she was hesitant to admit it, his words struck a chord. As Cameron's apparition faded, Sharon resolved to take the first steps toward healing. The Newman Ranch, Confrontation and Consequences. At the Newman Ranch, the family gathered to discuss the escalating crisis. Victor's stern demeanor conveyed his frustration. We need answers, and we need them now, he barked. Nikki placed a calming hand on his arm. Victor, please. We're all tired and shaken. Let's not rush to judgment. Claire's voice broke the tension. Grandfather, I take full responsibility. I went to confront Jordan, and things spiraled out of control. Victor's sharp gaze pierced through her. You took a reckless gamble, Claire. What if things had gone differently? What if you had been the one to lose your life? Victoria interjected, her tone protective. Dad, we all made the decision to back Claire. She's not alone in this. As the family debated their next steps, Chance arrived with an update. The truck we found is being dusted for prints, and Jordan's death is officially under investigation. But there's another issue. Victor's eyes narrowed. What is it? Chance hesitated before answering. Tessa and Aria are missing. We believe Ian Ward may be involved. The room fell silent, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Victor stood, his fists clenched. We'll find them. And when we do, Ian Ward will pay for every ounce of pain he's caused. Tessa's perspective. Meanwhile, Tessa clutched Aria tightly as she huddled in the back of a dimly lit warehouse. The sound of footsteps echoed outside, sending a jolt of fear through her. It's going to be okay, baby, she whispered, her voice trembling. Mommy's going to keep you safe. Her captor's voice rang out. You can't hide forever, Tessa. Ian wants to talk. Tessa's mind raced, searching for a way to escape. She knew she couldn't afford to wait for help. Gathering her courage, she spotted a narrow vent in the corner of the room. It was a tight fit, but it might be their only chance. Carefully, she eased the vent cover off and crawled through, holding Aria close. Every movement felt agonizingly slow, but the thought of freedom propelled her forward. Damien's arrival. The next morning, Damien arrived in Genoa City, his sharp suit and confident demeanor a stark contrast to the troubled image Amy had clung to. As he entered Nate's penthouse, Amy's breath caught in her throat. "Mom," Damien said, his voice a mix of warmth and apprehension. Amy rushed to embrace him, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, Damien. I've missed you so much." He hugged her back, but the tension between them was undeniable. "I missed you too, Mom. But we need to talk." As they sat down, Amy poured out her heart, confessing the regrets and mistakes that had kept them apart. Damien listened intently, his expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke. "Mom, I'm not angry. I've made my own mistakes too. But I'm here now, and I want to move forward. Let's figure this out together." Audra and Nate watched from a distance, their own hearts warmed by the reunion. For the first time in years, Amy felt a glimmer of hope.